Oh.
Okay.
When do you have to go?
Oh, I don't have to go. I stopped and asked him if he could. Can you hear that in the background?
No. Can
Good.
you? Oh,
Good. So, well, welcome to what I've just started, my channel, Woman to Woman.
oh my goodness, I love it.
And so I'm just going to, my whole purpose is to talk to women that have gone through stuff, overcome challenges, have become successful, and just something that we can maybe pass on to other women that might be wanting to try something, but they don't have they just don't know how to start that, or,
Mm,
or they think they can't do it because they're not special or they don't have these special talents or something like that. So my
absolutely.
yeah, my goal is just to talk to, and I don't want to call you ordinary because you're amazing. So, but my goal is to talk to women like us that have just went on their own and been successful in their life. So, first of all, would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Rosalie McKenzie. My maiden name is Rust. I've been married for 7 years. I was born and raised in the Northwest Territories. I was there for 30 years and then I went through a bad marriage, so I moved away and I was a single mom for 11 years.
Wow.
And I always knew that there was something more important for me to be doing. I always felt that there was something that was more of a purpose, that I was supposed to make an impact on people in my life because I've always been a giver and I've always wanted to make a difference and be significant.
Right.
So I've
So,
always felt that.
like always growing up.
Always,
uh,
always felt that. I always felt like there was something special that I have to give. And I just always wanted more. Always, 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 always looking for something else, something better, something that made me feel good and something that I was helping other people. So I moved to Alberta and I was here for a couple of years, met some amazing people, and then I moved to Toronto and I went to school and my daughter went to cheerleading, uh, was in a cheerleading program and we traveled all over Canada and the US for
what?
cheerleading.
Sorry, what did you go to school for?
I went to school for emergency dispatching. So like 911 dispatching,
Okay.
and I really loved it. I actually got honors in that. And yeah, so that was really interesting. It was really good to have that experience. And I tried to get a few jobs afterwards, but I mean, the way I look at it is there was a reason I didn't get those jobs. Um,
Right.
so yeah, and then I moved back to Alberta after a couple of years and I met my now husband and we got married and yeah, so now my daughter's since moved out and she has two kids of her own. So grandson, I have a grandson and a granddaughter and
Yeah,
my
they're
life
pretty
is
fun, eh?
full. Yeah, very busy.
Right. So when did you, or maybe how did you start on a different path? Like, I know it's tough, even if we know that we should be doing more, it's actually tough to make that decision and then actually start to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of dabbled in a few like MLM things, but I always knew that I was not a salesperson. I don't like to sell stuff. So I had a really hard time convincing people that they needed to buy. Can I name the company or no?
Oh,
Well, let's just say we sold spices. How's that? So we sold spices and stuff. And I really did not sell a lot because I wasn't a salesperson and not everybody wants that stuff because not everybody cooks, you know?
Right.
So I just basically used it as a discount vehicle for myself, our
Right.
home, right? But
I've done that so much myself too.
yeah, yeah. So I knew that I wasn't a salesperson, but I still knew that there was something out there for me. And I always knew that I was different. So at all of the jobs I've ever had, I always felt like I was special and that I brought something different to the table. I just couldn't pinpoint what it was that was different. I'm a Virgo, I'm very analytical, and I'll analyze something to death. So yeah, that's funny. Um, so then when I had a so I got laid off from a job in 2019. And then my husband was like, "Well, we're hiring at my work. At least it's a paycheck and the starting wage is like $21 an hour." So I'm like, "You can't go wrong with that."
Right.
Because my background is in accounting, mostly office work and accounting. So I was like, well, if I'm just going to start out somewhere random, I'm going to get $15 an hour. So how about let's just change it up? I'm tired of that environment. I don't want to sit at a desk for 3 days doing a spreadsheet for a bank rec. Like I'm done. I'm done with that stuff.
Right.
I know that I was meant for more, and I've tried that job so many times, and it's like, no, it's time for something different. So when my husband was like, well, my work is always hiring. So I was like, you know what? It's a labor job, like it's physical. And I'm like, okay, it's time to just do something like that. So I worked there for 10 months, and then we got a virus, a computer virus at work, and I got laid off
Oh.
for, yeah. So I was like, oh man, that's kind of poopy, but whatever. Like maybe I'll get hired back after, right? And
Right.
then COVID hit in
Right.
2020.
Yeah.
March 5th of 2020,
Yes.
we got shut down, laid off, like that's it. Locked in our houses, can't go anywhere. And by that time I had started another MLM, and it was like I was going through the personal development of that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And then in June I got entered because of that company, I got introduced to Dave Scatcherd, who's a former NHL player who you know personally as well.
Yeah.
Um, so I got introduced to him in June of 2020. I joined his free challenge he did online. It was a 7-day challenge, and I was laid off. So I was like, I have nothing better to do. And
Where did you find that at with Dave, the All-Star Challenge?
what do you mean? Like,
Like
where did
where
I?
did you come across it on Facebook or?
Oh, no. So part of that MLM that I was part of, um, they offered a summit, a coach, what was it now? It was called a High Ticket Sellers Summit, is what they
Okay.
called it. So I met a lot of people in that high ticket sale community, and he was one of the speakers on the summit. Dave Scatcherd was. So he spoke at the summit, and just things he said really resonated with me, and I really like felt a connection to him. And then he was like, "Well, I'm putting together this free challenge, and I wouldn't normally do this, but you're all invited. Here's the link to sign up." So I signed up, of course, because when the universe tells you
Yeah.
something special is happening here,
Yeah.
um, you don't waste that, right? So yeah, I joined that 7-day challenge. I was laid off, so I might as well do the challenge. And then after the challenge, he offered an all-star program. And I like went to my husband and I was like bawling, and I'm just like, I need this program so bad, but I don't know how can I afford this. It's like $500 US. So convert that to Canadian and you're looking at almost
Like a million.
right? Depending on the day.
Right. That brings up a really good point, Rosalie, because I know I also did that, and $500 seemed like so monumental to me, like
Mm,
US, of course. And I just like how, like, that's not even, I wasn't even considering it because of the amount. I
mhm.
just thought that's way too much to even consider. And that's where my mindset was
Yeah.
as well. So go ahead and tell me how you overcome your.
So I just knew that I needed it because there were so many things. And like when I went through that challenge, I had already peeled off so many layers of this onion that that we're all onions. There's so many layers to us, right?
Yeah.
And I had already peeled off a bunch just doing the free challenge. So I was like, oh my gosh, this guy can offer so much more since I've already let go of all this stuff. Like, what's next, you know? So I just
Mhm.
knew that I knew that I needed it. And I know that it's an investment because if it's going to make my life better, I still have a lot of years left in my life. So I need to invest in something that's going to make it better, right?
Right. So, like practically, where did you come up with $500?
I literally used my EI money. Yeah. And did I have money left over? I think I had a little bit of money left over from when I got laid off of my job. I basically got fired, is what happened. Like I got let go. So they had to pay me out severance.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I still had some severance left. But I mean, I didn't know how long I needed that for, but I knew that I needed this program more, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
found the money basically.
I did. I just found it. We made it work. Chad even said, like my husband, he said, we'll make it work. I know that you need this and you want this so bad. We'll figure it out.
No, that's very supportive of him.
Oh,
Very nice of him.
the crazy things I've done, and he totally supports everything. So
Nice.
I'm very lucky. I'm very, very
Yeah.
fortunate.
Yeah, that's yeah, so you got your money, you become an all-star, which was the program following the challenge, the free
Mhm.
challenge. And just as a side note, I felt the same way. Like at first
Oh,
I'm just like, well, there's no way I'm gonna take the free challenge. There's no way I can invest any money in it because I don't have any money. And
yeah.
then about 3 days in, I'm just like, who am I kidding? I just can't, like, I was trying to take notes. I was trying to take pictures of this stuff. I just like, who am I kidding? I can't be done with this at this time. I need to find that money somewhere so I can just continue on. So
Yeah.
that's so I was like you, I'm just like, I just can't be done with this because it was literally changing my whole life
Oh,
within
yeah.
days, like just the way I was thinking. So
Yeah.
so anyway, I did find the money too. I'm not sure exactly where I found the money. In fact, I think at the time that I did a payment plan because I couldn't stand to see $500 US on my MasterCard. So I did the payment plan, which cost me quite a bit more money.
More, yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I did find the money and was the best investment
Oh,
ever
isn't that
for me.
crazy?
Anyway, so go on with your story after you did the challenge and you went down to the All Stars.
Yes. So part of that was, finding the money was like, how am I going to do this? And it's so funny how, like, when we really want something, we make it work. Like, we'll figure it out, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I was short paying my bills. I was short paying my utility bill. I was short paying my city bill. I was, like they were calling me every day, like, when are you gonna, how come you're behind in your bills? You're behind in your bills. And I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I need this, and this is how it's gonna be, sort of thing. So
Right.
kind of how that worked out.
So
Um,
just setting priorities.
oh, totally. I mean, there's things that like had to come out. And I even made phone calls and I was phoning places that, were getting automatic payments that were coming out every month. I was canceling things. I was calling and saying, "Hey, look, can I do a payment plan? Like,
Right.
what can I do about this payment? Can I bump it down? Like, what can we do?" So one of the phone calls was our insurance company because I had, we had all different kinds of life insurance and we had a whole bunch of different plans. So it's
Right.
like, this is a lot of money every month. Like, what can you do to help us out so that we can just lower this payment? And the lady was not happy with us because we wanted to get a lower payment. She was actually super rude to me on the phone and was very I don't want to like slander anybody, but she was very
Condescending.
um I'm trying to figure out the best word for it. She was judgmental.
Oh, yeah.
She was very and personal. Like she shot something personal at me. So I was really upset and I called my husband at work, which he's not allowed to be on the phone. And I told him what happened and he's like, cancel everything. So I was like, okay. So out of, I shouldn't have done this. Looking back, I should not have done this, but I called and I canceled everything. And then I started shopping around for more new insurance from a new company because this lady was, I was not happy.
Mhm.
So long story short, as I was shopping around looking for different plans, they kind of interview you and they ask you questions because they want, to get you set up with what's best for you
Yeah.
in your situation based on where you are now and where you're going to be in the future. And as he was interviewing us, asking questions, he asked me, well, he mentioned to me that I was asking some really good questions that and asked me if I'd be interested in doing what he's doing. And I was like, wow, I never even thought that that would be something. And I kind of like, as I was thinking about it, I was like, I could do that. Like, I could totally do that. Like, and I didn't even think about like the money or the training or like, I kind of guess I kind of did think about the training a little bit, but he already like jumped in and was like, oh, you get hands-on training. And I was just like, okay, I'm in. Like, let's sign me up. Let's do it. I'd love to learn how to do this stuff. And because I felt really dumb because after after I jumped in and I started learning how everything worked and the different types of insurances and all the ins and outs,
Right.
I felt really dumb that I didn't know that before because that lady really, really, she she sandbagged us. Like she was taking us for a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, like we were in stuff that we didn't need to be in, like we were in way too many things, like unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
felt
And
really dumb.
you can just see, well, of course, but like how would you know, right? It's
I
not your
know.
business, right? You
And
just
that's where I felt dumb. Like, why did I not do more research? Because that's super important. Like, you're paying almost $600 a month for two people for life insurance. Like, why am I not researching how the ins and outs of it work? And, I trusted her, And that was the most frustrating part for me was that part was I felt dumb because I just trusted somebody else in something
and
I didn't
and you
know.
know what? Like that happens all the time in our life, right?
Yeah.
And really, how would you expect to know that? That's like when you haven't learned it.
Yeah.
So she might have made you feel dumb, but that's not your business. So, you weren't dumb at all. That
Well,
was just, you were depending on an expert to, lead you where you needed to go. And obviously she didn't. So,
and I trusted her because I trusted that she had my best interest at heart,
right,
which clearly she did not.
right. So that just
That,
motivated you to just go for it and do it yourself.
yeah, because I don't want anybody else in my family, in my life, in my circle of friends to have to go through what I went through and think that you trust somebody and you don't and you can't.
Right. So I know you took courses.
Yes.
I just because I know just through our conversations, it's like, oh, I got to take this test or whatever. So how extensive was that?
So all in all, it was $600 and it was said and done. I had my license.
Mm.
That's what I had to do is I had to actually get my government license. I had to go through licensing and
Right.
get my license. So I kind of dragged my feet because because at the same time I was studying for my license, I was also got hired on with that Dave Scatcherd coaching program. So he hired me as an assistant
Right.
virtually. At the same time, I was studying for my exams for my license. So normally it should only take like 30 to 60 days max to get licensed.
Right.
But it took me like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, which is, you know what, when you think about how busy our lives are,
Yeah.
people that have full-time jobs and, I have a job, I'm doing something else and I'm doing something else and you're trying
Yeah.
to learn and fit
Yes,
that all in. So I mean, that's a reality. And I'm
it
going to
really is.
suggest that it's a reality more for women than
Mhm.
for men in that we have more than one thing going on often in our life.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you become a licensed insurance lady.
A broker, yes.
That's broker.
Yes.
And it sounds like you just haven't looked back.
I'll never look back. I will never ever go to a job again in my life. I love this so much, and especially what's happening in the world right now with finances and inflation and debt. My job and what I do as an advisor is so needed right now, and we actually need more people. There's no way I could do this all by myself. Like,
Right.
the market needs more of what I can do. We
Right.
need more people.
Yeah, because people always need insurance. Insurance is is part of your life, right?
And it's not only insurance that our company does, we also do mortgages, debt consolidation, and investments. Like, we
Oh,
do it all, a one-stop shop,
yeah. So
basically.
you're really helping people.
Oh my gosh, yeah. As you can tell by my plaques in the back there,
Oh,
and I've been promoted a couple of times, so I've got promotions and plaques, and
nice. It sounds like you found your more.
I
You
did. This is
yeah.
my purpose. My purpose is to help people and to show them the business as well, because ultimately, when you go to a bank and you ask for advice, they can only show you 5 different things because that's all they have.
Right.
Whereas as a broker, I have 80 companies that I can show
Right.
you. I
Yeah.
can show somebody 80 companies and help that person, like, in like one family, we can help get out of debt, save money, invest to grow for the future and retirement, as well as protect that income, all in like one family.
Right. So what are your goals for you in the future, like personally and professionally?
So personally, my goals are to continue on with the coaching. Like, I'm always trying to develop myself and keep myself in the right headspace, because this job's not easy. We're always that negative mindset, that negative talk, self-talk, it always jumps in, and it's a daily practice to push it aside and not ignore it, because it's legit, like, it is real feelings, but see where they're coming from and see how you can, like, work through it and get rid of those on a
See
daily basis,
how,
like, it's
yeah,
daily.
see how valid it is, right?
Oh, it is, and it's totally valid, because, like, sometimes, yeah, you get, like, imposter syndrome, or you, like, feel overwhelmed, or, you get hurt, you get sad because you hear about somebody that, you tried to talk to a year ago, and then something happened to them, and now they're starting a GoFundMe page, and it's like, "Oh, man, like, I talked to you a year ago and you didn't even wanna look at this," or, "I showed you a plan and we had it all set out and you decided, 'I'm gonna wait.'" Well, now you waited too long, and, like, it breaks my heart, but what can I do? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
sort of thing. So that's personal goals. And then professional goals is I'm working towards my next promotion for this year. So
Nice.
promotion means a higher contract level. And yeah, so that's my goal. And to promote more of my teammates so that they get a higher contract as well.
Right. So does that include any more schooling for you or?
We're always learning. So
Yeah.
because I already have my license, there's nothing more I need to do. If I want to get my license in another province, so I'm licensed right now in Alberta and I'm licensed in the Northwest Territories. If I
Right.
want to get a license in another province, I literally just pay the money and apply. I don't have to go through any more tests.
Oh, okay.
But there's always learning, because we work with, like, Bank of Montreal, TD, like, we work with RBC, we work with so many different product providers.
Right.
They're always they're always evolving and changing and making things easier and better for us.
Mhm.
So there's always learning.
Right. So how do you balance your business with your personal life? Like, how do you keep that balance?
I have to use a day planner. So where is it? So I use a day planner and I write down everything that I have every time I have a meeting, or if I need to follow up with somebody, or if I'm supposed to make a phone call, or there's a payment coming out, or if I have training or a meeting, like everything goes in my day planner. And I have to block time for certain things, and I have to use this paper day planner. Like I tried to do the digital thing for a while. It just didn't work for me. I have a calendar, I use my phone, plus I use this. So yeah, it's blocking the time is very important. So that's how I do everything.
Right. So would you say your personal time, like you have a full personal life? I know you're very busy professionally, but you have a personal life that's very full for you as well.
Yes, when my daughter calls me and says, "Can you babysit on any of these dates?" And she'll give me dates and times, and I'll be like, "Okay, I could do this one and this one." And she's like, "Okay, good." And then I write it in my calendar. So I block those times when I'm doing stuff with her. And like if my husband is on a day off, I try to block my day off as well, depending on like his sleeping schedule, because he works shift work. So if he's on a night shift, he'll sleep till about noon, depending on if he has to work again. He might work
Right.
till 3. So I'll
Right.
book myself till 3, and then from 3 till 6 will be like our time, and then I can book evening meetings, right? So that's the best part about working from home
Right.
is I can do meetings in the evening, mornings, afternoons, weekends, doesn't matter.
What I know we just went through like a little break over Christmas and stuff like that. How do you stay motivated and focused on your goals?
I literally make sure, so I took a break. I made sure that I set my phone down. I did not even log into my computer. Like there were certain things I had to log in, do, and then I would get off.
Right. I
I
did
would
the
log in.
same. I took a
Yeah,
few
it
days. Yeah.
feels so good, right? Like
Mm.
it was so needed just because when there's so many things going on, it's so overwhelming. And not only like is it overwhelming to your calendar, but it just takes up so much headspace,
Right.
so that is so overwhelming. I just took that break, and it was very important to do that.
Yeah, I know, looking at your date timer there, I get up every morning at a very specific time, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do a little workout and I do some journaling and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Uh, but after that, when it comes time to like sit and work, I'll sit and work. And I think, oh, I'm gonna work on like, say LinkedIn for a while or YouTube or whatever. I'll do that, but I don't have it specific enough. So I just find I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's already like 2 o'clock. Now what? So I think it's a really good reminder to really make sure and physically write down or type whatever you do and just make sure that you follow it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the toughest part because things happen, right? People
Yeah,
call, things come up, you get an email, it's like,
yeah,
certain
yeah.
things. But I find like I get a better sleep at night when I already have the next day planned out.
Yes, yeah,
So
for
then I'm
sure.
not like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. Well, no, I already have it planned out. I already know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Mhm.
Like what you said, the journaling, and you've always been really good at that. And like, I admire that about you is like, you have your morning routine and you stick with it. And I'm so proud of you for doing that because that's something that I really struggle
We all have
with.
our own struggles, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I won't keep you very much longer, Rosalie, but so I know you're very passionate about your business,
Mhm.
and you got into it because of what you experienced personally, which is, I'm sure a lot of us do have that happen. We go and learn about something, and then we're so excited we need to share it with people, right? So, what sets you apart in your business from other businesses like this?
What sets me apart is I truly care about the client and their future and what's important to them. So I try my best to listen to what the client's needs are, and I really take time in searching and running quotes and like asking questions and reaching up to my team and like the leaders that have been in the business way longer than me, and I try to ask them those really tough questions because I want to make sure that when I meet with that client again that I have eight different, like, it's almost overwhelming to them, which is sometimes like depending on the client they can handle that, but I want so many options because we want choices. This is what we want in life is we want choices. We
Right.
don't want to just be like, well, here's one job you can apply on,
Yeah.
like
Well,
no,
that's,
like
I think you're right about that, so give the choices and let them decide which
yeah,
one works for
absolutely. And
them.
then I'm not like, well, I think this is what you should do. And I'm not selling anything. I'm literally like, I'm solving their problem. The problem is, they're drowning in debt or whatever. And it's like, okay, like I get it. It's kind of like a tough pill to swallow when you're telling somebody about your personal finances. Like I get
Right.
that. And
Yeah.
I'm very understanding about how awkward that is because it's awkward to talk about finances, especially if you're not in a good position, but we want people to think we're in a good position and
Yeah. It's
so
very, very hard to be honest about what's
yeah.
actually happening in our life. Um, on your journey, what would you say would be like milestones in, where you were, what you did to change the way you are? Like, so how did you get from where you were to where you are? The milestones,
So, holy man, so many.
right?
I I literally just had to it all started with All-Star Coaching. I literally had to look in the mirror and I had to say,
But
I'm lying to myself.
before that though,
Yeah.
you had to be motivated enough to actually be open to be looking for that, right? So there was something lacking,
Yeah.
like for instance, for me, it's just like I need something. I'm just tired of where I'm at right now. And then when I seen that, I'm just like, yep. But his first one was, get the one I was going to do or something, get your shit together.
That's the one I did, yeah.
Reach out. Yeah. Well, he couldn't use that terminology, but that's really what it was for me. I'm just like, I really need that. So for me, that's a total milestone.
Yeah.
I had to be open, like to
Yeah.
actually seeing that as
Mm.
something I needed to do. So then you went to the All-Star.
Yeah, I think like just to go back to your question there about like what was some of the milestones and I feel like just give me one second. I just have I don't know why my pulse is running. Uh
No problem.
I think it's just in my I think it's in my genes, maybe my personality, maybe my upbringing, but I've always had a drive that I wanted to learn more. I've just always had that. So when something was like presented to me, if it seemed interesting, like sure, like what's it going to cost me? A little bit of time, maybe a
Right.
little bit of money. I don't know. Like I'm very open to learning about things. So I
Right.
think that just kind of opened a lot of doors for me throughout my entire life, you know? But I
Right.
feel like excuse me, a lot of times I think and I was actually talking to Dave about this the other day when we were I guess it was a couple weeks ago now when I was in Arizona, we went out for lunch and we were talking about how well, I was saying how I think I figured it out why people worry about jumping into something new is because they don't trust themselves, right? So
Yeah.
think about a person who's fresh out of high school, they're going to college because that's what they're told to do is you got to go to college and you have to get a certificate or a degree, right? And the reason why we go to college is because we're trusting the college. We're putting that trust on someone else.
Right.
Do we trust ourselves to pass those classes? Well, I just got to show up, right? Like there's no personal responsibility anymore. Like, think about anybody who just gets a job to have a paycheck. They don't have to trust themselves when they get that job. They
Right.
literally just have to go to a job, learn how to do it, plug
Sure.
away at a keyboard, and they get a
Yeah.
paycheck.
Yeah.
Where does the self-trust, the self-responsibility, and the accountability come in? It doesn't.
No.
So I feel like we're programmed and we're conditioned to go and do these things and not have to trust ourselves. So when a door opens and there's an opportunity that we would have to trust ourselves for doing the work, we don't do that. We steer away from that. We run away from those things, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So it's the trust. We don't trust ourselves to do the work, to be accountable, right? We're
Right.
putting
And
the trust in other people.
right. And then when you're going into, say, business for yourself, an entrepreneur, like
Mhm.
you are on your own, basically, right? Like you have people that support you, of course, but it's you. It's you. If you don't show up, well,
Exactly.
it's not going to work for you. So
Exactly. So being
that's
coachable and showing up are so important. Uh, that's weird. Sorry.
that's okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So you're right.
And
You're right.
so I just wanted to wrapping up here. I just wanted for you to share any advice that you think is like the best advice you can give a woman thinking about doing something different, thinking about doing some self, some self improvement, that kind of thing. What advice would you give somebody who is not happy with where they're at in their life at this time?
Mm. I think the best advice I could think of, because it's sort of a starting point and like a launching pad, would be to stand in a mirror and just be honest with yourself. Stop lying to yourself. It sounds brutal. It's not easy. It sounds really harsh to say that, but we all lie to ourselves. And I think that that would be a really good starting point, would to be just to stand in the mirror and just be like, I am done right now. I am no longer lying to myself. I'm going to be realistic about things. Like, it's okay to dream. Like, we still need to dream.
Yeah.
But in order to dream, I think you got to look in the mirror and stop lying to yourself.
Right. Just be realistic.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely seeing you. I'm so
Yes, you
proud of
too.
you.
Oh, you too. I'm so proud of you. Like, your posts and all the things that you're doing. And I'd love to see more of the bear stuff if you're doing
Oh
any of
yeah.
that. I'd love to see more of that because I
Yes.
feel like that is something that you're super passionate about, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that's super important to people is like look in the mirror and like be honest with yourself, but also like what does your heart tell you?
Right.
What does your heart tell you you need to be doing? Like, let's do that.
Yeah. Yes.
Why are we not doing that?
Right. I would like to get your link for your business, your insurance business. I can drop it in the comments below. And then if
Absolutely.
anybody's interested in learning more about that, they can just link to you directly. And
Absolutely.
it's been very nice seeing you and talking to you. Thank
You
you for your
too.
time, and
You too.
you're
Thank you.
awesome. And
We're amazing. And I can't wait to visit with you again soon.
I know we'll have to do an in-person visit.
Yes, please.
Actually, we were going down to Red Deer tomorrow
Oh
to
my goodness.
visit Dale's mom and dad. So
Oh, well, that'll be
anyway,
fun.
thank you so much and good luck
Thank
with your
you.
business, and we'll chat soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, see you, Rosalind.
See you.